So I'm like, hey guys, look what I got. I mean, hold on. Valor Sword. Yeah. Do you guys have this? You do? They re-released it.
Boss up, yeah, all my enemies know they talk about us, but they not like we, and I'm up right now.
What is up, everyone? My name is FMSorcerer, and today I'm going to be doing a top 10 of the rarest items in Wizard101. And these items include mounts, pets, and gear, and basically it's just any clothing item that is so rare in Wiz that most people don't have it, and they also don't even know that it exists. Before I get started with the actual list, I kind of wanted to just say that at the top of the list is probably going to already be a new item, which is kind of surprising because the fact that a item can be added to the game recently and already be rare is pretty shocking. But it's not really shocking when I say that it's the Night Dragon mount. I mean, this mount was recently added for this Crowns event reward system that KI decided to do that they thought was
very fair,
and it's really not. It's kind of one of the dumbest things ever in the game. It is probably going to be rare because no one is really going to spend $700 to buy a 550,000 crown mount along with the hat and the robe and the boots, which are also very expensive. There actually have already been some people spotted who bought the set, which is absolutely insane. Just know that the night gear is very rare because of how many crowns it costs, and no one is really going to spend that much money for a set. The night gear is definitely on the list of the rarest items in Wiz. You can already bet your money or your crowns, but you know, KI would just snatch those away. And you can assume that the night gear and whatever else they're going to add for the next crowns event, if they don't change the prices of the tiers, are going to be rare items eventually in Wiz. But to get started with the actual list, at number 10 we have the Valor Sword. Now, the Valor Sword is a wand that I'm pretty sure most players, if you're familiar with Wiz for a while or you've been playing for at least more than a few years, you'll know what this wand is. However, you probably don't have it. Now, this sword was added in 2009 and it was added during Memorial Day for players who had service members in their family. So the fact that it was only released one in 2009 and two for people who had members of the service in their family makes it pretty rare, because I mean 2009 is when Wiz was still pretty fresh. So it's not like there's going to be just thousands or millions of players who have family members who are in the army or who serve at all. So those things kind of made it difficult for many people to own the Valor Sword. But this sword is very cool. I mean, it's probably one of the coolest sword wands, and even if they didn't release the Valor Sword again, because I get that they'd want to keep the rarity, I mean, if I owned an item that was really rare, I wouldn't want them to just release it again. Because let's say I'm just, you know, showing it off to my friends. I'm like, hey guys, look what I got. I mean, hold on. Valor Sword. Yeah. Do you guys have this? You do? They re-released it. I would not be happy, you know. I mean, I think it's cool having something that's cool that not many other people can get. But I still think they should make wands that are like the Valor again. I know there's other sword wands, but again, I mean, this wand was really cool because it was a huge sword and, you know, it's just a cool design. So that's number 10 on the list, the Valor Sword. Next on the list is this pet called the Danger Hound. And honestly, this pet looks really cool. You came out of nowhere, sir. But I think the Danger Hound is a really cool looking pet, and it was basically released in 2009 as a limited pet that not many people could get. It was kind of released for Wizard101 Central members in 2009, and then in 2013 they re-released it for the 5th birthday of Wizard101 Central, I believe. And because of that, it is very rare. It has not been released again at all, and you cannot hatch and get this pet from hatching. For that reason, the Danger Hound is a very rare pet. Also, there's the Pioneer Dragon, which was a special pet for beta testers. So basically that meant that only people who played Wizard101 before it was officially released got this pet, and it was a very cool looking pet. As you can see, it was also dyeable. It was sold by Prospector Zeke for a short amount of time, and Prospector Zeke also had a bunch of other rare items and gear that he sold in the past that is no longer available, which we'll get to later in the video. But it was offered by him until it was eventually taken out altogether, and now the only people who have this pet are people who can say that they played Wiz before it was officially released. Next is this mount called the Charity Meow Madonna. I think that's how it's said. It's basically a mount that was only in the crown shop in December 2009, and all of the sales or all of the money that people basically put in to buy the mount went to charity. And so basically it was a charity mount and it was never released again. It's actually one of the most popular mounts that is rare that people really want. I've never particularly just wanted it like so bad, but it is a lit mount, so I could see why people would want it. I did start Wiz in 2009, but I don't remember this mount at all, and it's probably just because I wasn't really paying attention to that much stuff, you know. If anything, all I cared about was getting the broom mounts. I was like, Mom, Dad, can I have crowns, please? And I didn't really care what mount I bought. So I'm pretty sure for that reason a lot of other people didn't want the mount either. They just didn't know about it. So that makes this mount one of the rarest in the game. Next is the Frontier Dragon. Now this mount is pretty cool because it is a mount that I never see in game, and I'm pretty sure most of you all don't either. It was actually only given out to players who had created an account between September 2nd, 2008 and September 1st, 2009, I believe. So you obviously had to be an OG Wizhead, and if you weren't, then you didn't get this mount during the birthday celebration. And it is a pretty cool mount, and like I said, I've never seen this mount before, but there is another variation of it which is even rarer, which I'll be talking about later on. So yeah, the Frontier Dragon is another one of the rarest pieces of gear, items, whatever you want to call them, joints in the game. There's this mount called the Charity Christmas, which was released in 2009 during the month of December, and you could only get it that month. It was never released ever again. This mount, all of the purchases or all of the crowns or money or whatever spent, I don't know how it worked, went towards charity, and it's never been released again. It probably will never be released again. So if you own this mount, then you've got yourself a really rare piece of Wiz gear. I may have seen it a couple of times here and there a while ago, but I mean, I definitely don't see it anymore now. And I probably just didn't even make much of it when I seen it before, because I was like, oh, it's a new mount, but it's nothing that I want to buy, because I really don't buy mounts from the crown shop. And now looking back at it, it's actually a really lit looking mount, especially just because it's something that we never really see that often. So it's just like, oh, that's cool. I mean, I never really see it. And so yeah, the Charity Christmas is one of the rarest items in all of Wiz. Okay, so way back before 2010, Prospector Zeke used to sell some really rare gear that is no longer available. It was basically retired, and it's now known as like the first generation Zeke gear, because he had a lot of items that were offered, and I believe they were sold for crowns, and you can no longer get them at all. So basically there were 3 different sets. There's the Royal gear, the Master gear, and the Astral gear, and he had a bunch more than that, and they looked really cool. It was basically variations of gear that look similar to gear we have now, and they were on types of robes that are just not offered at all anymore. And a lot of people see this gear and they wonder what it is or where it's from, and that's basically what it is. It was offered by Prospector Zeke, and you cannot get it at all anymore. I barely see anyone wearing it, and it's really a cool thing. I wish that Wiz would re-release this gear, or that they would make something similar to it, because it's something that, again, most people don't even know about. So they are definitely some of the rarest pieces of gear in all of Wiz. This mount is called the Pioneer Dragon, and it's basically like I was saying earlier with the Frontier Dragon. It is a mount that was given to players who created their account before September 2008. So you basically had to be a beta player to earn this mount during Wizard101's 5th birthday, and it's no longer offered, obviously. You could only have gotten it if you had made an account before that time period, and it is a really cool mount. It's basically like the other mount, but it has stars on it, and it's really cool because for me, a lot of these mounts take me back to before Wiz was just making a bunch of random types of mounts like cars and motorcycles and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I like those mounts too. However, it was dragons, and you know, it's just original Wiz, like traditional magical type creatures. And honestly, I would want to see more dragon mounts, more mounts like this, but you know, make something similar to it, make a newer variation, you know, update it a little bit. And yeah, it is definitely one of the rarest exclusive items in all of Wiz. So this pet is probably a pet that you have never seen in Wiz and have never heard of at all, and it is called the sheep pet. Now, I want you to do some thinking about what this could look like. Have you finished thinking? Are you done? Have you thought about it? Right, well, here is what the sheep pet looks like. Psych, it's not a sheep. Yes, I was surprised too. When I was doing some research for this vid and I saw that the sheep pet was one of the rarest items in all of Wiz, I thought it was an actual sheep. I was like, what? There's already sheep pets. I mean, how could that be rare? Even if it is, it's probably not that cool. But when I saw this, I was like, whoa. That is very rare, not just for the fact that I have never seen it before, but also because it is like a little walking villager, and it basically is based off of the sheep villagers in Mushu, and it was only given to King's Isle employees and a few special people who it was passed on to. I don't know who these special people would have been, but it is a very, very rare item. But, you know, I know that they're probably not going to release it. Honestly, it is kind of unfair that it's only for King's Isle employees, but I get, you know, I get it, KI. You guys gotta have your own fun. You want to be Wizhead sometimes, but you know, it is one of the rarest items in all of Wiz, and it's pretty cool. Now, finally, the #1 rarest item in all of Wizard101 is the Bone Dragon mount. No, I am not talking about this Bone Dragon mount. I am talking about this Bone Dragon mount. Almost no one even knows exists. It looks just like the Bone Dragon spell, and very few people own this mount because it was only available for a few minutes. When the Dragon's Horde pack first released in Wiz, this mount was added to the pack as one of the possible drops until it was taken out within a short amount of time and replaced with what we now know to be the current Bone Dragon mount, which is also rare. So this is a rare variation of a rare variation, and it is very much speculated as to what happened, why this mount was changed to the other Bone Dragon mount that we know, and it ranges from so many different theories. A few are that parents thought that the mount looked too scary and that it kind of scared children, and that's why KI quickly kind of just took it out and then came up with something else. And then it's also suggested that Death Wizards complained that it was not unique, it looked just like the Bone Dragon spell, and so for that reason KI changed it. I think that probably makes the most sense. I mean, because if you really think about it, I mean, it's still normal that a lot of people complain about mounts being reskins of other mounts. So then just imagine back then people thinking it was a reskin of a spell and it wasn't, you know, unique. They didn't even try, it wasn't creative, and that's probably why they made the current Bone Dragon mount a lot larger, a lot kind of different. It doesn't look anything like the actual Bone Dragon spell. But when you think about it and when you really look at it, this mount looks very cool, and I honestly would not mind owning this mount at all. It looks just like the spell. I think that's a cool thing, you know? I understand the complaints about it being a reskin, but honestly, what mounts do we really have in the game that look just like the spell? I mean, besides like pets, I mean, we don't really have anything like that. So I think it would be cool if KI made this mount available again, considering especially that it was kind of taken out very abruptly. Not many people know about it at all, and if you own this mount, then you are in huge luck. So yeah guys, there are many other rare items in Wiz, but these are definitely the rarest, and I hope you all did enjoy. Let's try to reach 100 likes if you did enjoy. If you want to see me make a part 2, I can definitely do that. If you would want KI to possibly add back some of these rare items, then leave a like, or if you want them to make items like it, then just let them know. I hope you all did enjoy. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Other than that, I will catch you all in the next one. Keep it 5.